Hello everyone, Galactic Seas. Today we are going to let's craft some NFTs. How about that? Let's do that. Yes, yes, yes. So today we'll be actually in the forge and we'll be crafting some of the cards that we have into NFTs, and then we're also going to list them for some ETH. So let's go ahead and jump right into that. Uh, Forging cards and actually fusing cards in the forge here with Gods Unchained costs gods, and it also costs flux, I believe it's called. So the way that I do it is like to sort mine by rarity. We'll go ahead and sort that by rarity. I'm only going to sort these two right here. Or sorry, I'm only going to forge the two cards right there. So we start out by clicking each one of these. These two will fuse into one, and it costs 120 flux and then 0.07 gods. So what we do from here is we hit start fusing, fused with 120 star. Now the process continues elsewhere, which is right over here. Let's get out of that real quick. Here we're just going to connect our wallet. Click next, connect. You're going to sign the request. I always like to tell everybody, keep this in mind. Only sign this request if you've initiated an action with Immutable X. If you haven't initiated an action with a different party, somebody could be sending you a request to initiate a request that can get into your account and then possibly drain it from your ETH or whatever other NFTs or valuable digital stuff you may have. So here's the 0.07 gods that this is going to cost. So we're just going to sign that contract. We're going to go ahead and sign it. The cost of everything is so that this card can be minted into the blockchain as an NFT. So that was it for that one. We finished on that. That'll show up in our inventory later on. It's still working. It's still being processed, and so it won't show up just yet. You'll see the no preview sign for that. However, that has been fused um, and done. Same thing with this. The We're gonna go ahead and fuse the two into one. We're gonna hit start fusing. Fuse with 120 flux and then 0.07 god. The amount. Oh, interesting. Okay. Before we go right into refusing that, let's check our history and make sure that it's not pending. So Assistant Alchemist has already been completed. If it's not completed, it'll show you here, and then it'll also give you an option to retry the process. I have done that before. I've retried it or tried the process again, and I don't know if it charges, if it costs Flux again and Gods. I don't quite remember, so I can't really say for sure. However, I've gone through my transactions and I've noticed that some of them didn't process. Some of the transactions that I tried to go through didn't process. So again, we're going to connect our wallet here. We're going to sign the contract. It's going to sign the request. This is the contract here. We're going to confirm it. We're going to sign the contract for that. And then we're going to click finish. And that'll be it for that process. Go back to our inventory. The Assistant Alchemist looks like it's already there. If we refresh, we may be able to see that our next card is in the works. There we go. So that'll be the two cards that'll be fusing just this time around. I do have quite a few cards that I could fuse. We also have to keep in mind that this costs gods coins and flux. So for me, I don't necessarily want to just fuse whatever random cards are here or whatever cards I want to look good for me, my personal choice, simply because it's costing me flux and it's costing me gods. When I fuse these cards, I fuse them because I want to turn them into NFTs. So it'll fuse two of them into an NFT, which will then be put on the blockchain. And then I want to take that NFT and actually turn around and post it for sale. And that's the process that I do is once I have these, So for example here, I'll check the Alchemist. I'll run over to the marketplace, and so the listing currencies are ETH, GODS, GOG, IMX, OMI, or USDC. I like to sell mine for ETH, so I'm only going to look up the reference point by ETH only. Looks like this one's going for a pretty good amount, 0.00121 ETH. And so we can actually list this for sale if we'd like to, and we do that by clicking list right here, list for sale. You choose the currency that you want to sell this for. I want to sell it for ETH, and then we'll enter our ETH amount which is 0.00121, but we're going to do 0.00120. It's 4 decimals over 0.1 less than what it's listed for here. However, if somebody the reason I do that is because if somebody filters by low price, then they might be encouraged to pick up the lower one, depending on how they feel. They might need two. Maybe they'll pick up mine and then the one right next to it. Who knows? That's why you see this difference here. 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126, 126, and I think it levels out. Yeah, it'll level out 126, 126, 127. This isn't advice in any way. It's just the process that I take and what I go through and my personal process for listing and finding out the value of these cards. Everything is subjective, so make sure you keep that in mind. And whatever you're doing is really your own accord. It's at your own choice, right? So you don't necessarily have to list these. You don't have to follow the advice that I'm giving you, or it's not even advice, actually, just my process. You can mimic the process that I follow, of course, but I'm not saying that this is the process that you have to follow. It has to be done. So anyhow, getting that out of the way, we're taking a split blade and cross-referencing how much it's going for the lowest price for ETH on the market. It looks like it's 0.00512 or 0.30512, and I'm going to list that for sale as well. I'm going to list it for ETH 0.30511. It seems minuscule or not worth listing it for 1 point less. Let's see, that's 0.50 decimals 1 less or more. However, if somebody's hunting and they really want to pick up these cards, then maybe they're trying to build a better deck. They might not have enough ETH, so what they'll do is they'll pick up the cards for the lowest they can possibly find, right? That's what I do anyway. If I want to build a deck and I don't have enough ETH, I try to seek out the cards with the lowest cost, and even the point difference, it's impactful because that's less, even though it's 1 or point, 5 decimal zeros to 1 to 2 to 3. That's still a little bit of ETH that you're keeping for yourself that may be able to stack up and accumulate later on, right? So it's like paying with $1 for something that's, I don't know, let's say 89 cents, right? And then instead of if you find something for, I don't know, 83 cents, you'll pick it up for 83 cents because you'll have that leftover amount. Those 17 cents could add up, and those cents in that small amount can, if you save it, put it aside, it can add up, right? You don't pay any mind to it, but you are spending less, and you're taking that difference and kind of putting it aside. It'll accumulate, in theory, and then, maybe, who knows, maybe you might end up with some, enough ETH to buy a card. Maybe that change difference will help you get into the next into the next card or pick up the next card pack. Who knows, right? So keep that in mind. Uh, just throwing that out there. We have visitors, so just checking over to see who it was. It's a very curious visitor, always trying to get my attention. Maybe we'll do a featured video, video on the a video. Yes, I have turned vampiric, and now I have that vampiric accent. We'll do a featured video on maybe our guest and see who it is later on. But for now, that'll be it for this one. Keep in mind that um, this isn't really advice; it's just the process that I take for me to keep growing my collection and maybe picking up more ETH to then uh, get more card packs to turn around and sell them or keep them or whatever it is that I like to do with them. Uh, that'll be it for this one. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one.